Hi guys, it's Lisa here. Sorry, I feel like my camera is wobbling in the wind. Anyway, one of my New Year's resolutions this year is to come to you maybe once a week and just give you some tools, tips, and techniques of sewing and quilting. Um, I've taken a job locally at a local quilt store, so I'm no longer going to be traveling. And I know a lot of you have enjoyed my travel videos where I've shown you the quilts that are already made, but why don't we work on some quilts together this year? And I was just going to show you some of the tools that I like, give you some maybe shortcuts, tips, things that I have found that work for me, and hopefully this will be fun for both of us. And since this is the first time and I'm not sure it's going to work, my video camera, works not that good. But if y'all seem to like it and give me good response, I'll see about upgrading that. So at least that part won't be torture to you. One of the things that I'm going to show you today, or the tip that I'm going to show you today, is a quick and easy way to make half square triangles. And I have two projects over here on my quilt design wall that are both this one, the chevron, and this twisted ribbon. Both of these are different techniques you can, or quilts you can make using the half square triangle. I absolutely love them. There's several methods out there. I've found several different on Pinterest and everything, and I've seen the one that I'm going to show you duplicated in several different places, so I don't know if any one person can be credited with the genius of it. But anyway, the way that I make them, it does make 8 half square triangles at a time. And I cut my fabric into 10-inch strips, and then I cut the strips, oops, that's not one, cut my strips into 10-inch blocks, and then I put them together, and I draw a line diagonally, and I'm going to sew along or 1/4 inch off that line on both sides, and then I'm going to cut them apart, and like I say, I'm going to end up with 8 half square triangles. But anyway, so how I do this, and you can look up on Pinterest. This one actually comes out, these blocks are 4.5 inch square. Yeah, the squares end up being 4.5 inch square. Starting with a 10-inch square. This half square triangle that I did, I started out with a 14-inch square at this point. And so these have ended up at 6.5 inch. So, like I say, there's several different videos and ideas on Pinterest. There is a chart that I found somewhere on Pinterest that, based on the end results of what size half square triangles you want, it tells you how large to start with your original block or your original square. So anyway, to cut my 10-inch strips, I have actually come to this 2 different ways. I've got 2 different products here. One is a strip ruler by Off the Wall Quilt, and this is a 10-inch strip cutter from Martelli. I like both of them for different reasons, and there's some things I don't like about both of them, and I'll tell you what those are. I'll just start with the Martelli. I like it. As you can see, I'm in the dungeon, or my sewing studio is in the basement. I'm on a concrete floor, and I tend to drop a lot of things, and anything that's made out of this acrylic doesn't like concrete floors. So And especially if it gets cold in the wintertime when it gets cold down here. So I have to be extra careful with these. But I still love them. Still worth the money. The Martelli is, you can see, it's sturdy, it's bendable, it's not picky about the hard concrete floor. One thing I don't like about it, this black, or this Get a Grip fabric will start eventually peeling off, but it's really an easy fix. You just go in with some rubber cement or Gorilla Glue and just reattach it. The other thing I don't like about the Martelli is this particular one, I can only do 1/2 inch increments. So I can do anything up to 10 inches in 1/2 inch increments. So if I have a block that are strips that I want that are just 2.5 inch strips, then I come in at the 2.5 mark, cut in that strip, and so forth. I do like this for cutting 2.5 inch strips, just because I can get 4 in one whack. The thing about the Martelli is you will need to use a Martelli cutter. I have found that works, but I've not had any luck with any other cutter working as well with the Martelli cutter, or the rulers. And I like the 60 inch, or 60 millimeter, not 60 inches. We'd be cutting down trees if we do that. Anyway, and then this is the one from Off the Wall Quilt, and this one, there again, I said it's acrylic, so if it hits my concrete floor, chances are I'm buying another one. What I do like about it over the Martelli, first of all, it's see-through. And I know that the guys at Martelli will tell you you don't need to see through it, but I like to see through mine. Anyway, but you can see through it. And the other thing is, it is adjustable anywhere from 0 to 10 in 1/8 inch increments. I just set this orange bar. It's set with wing nuts, and you just line up however you want, however wide you want your strips. So I do love it for that fact. It's way more adjustable than the other. It is a little bit heavy. So if you have arthritis or anything like that, it may be a little bit heavier to pick up and move around. But it's also got the non-slip. It's got I don't know what the technical term is. It's just a non-slip surface. So when I put it down, and I'm going to, let's see, I don't know if you can see me actually do this. Try to do that. But anyway, hope I'm not making you seasick there. So, well, if you could see my fancy contraption that I've got my camera on, y'all would just laugh at me. Anyway, so you're going to butt your fabric edge up against that orange guide and cut. I've already done that for you just to save us some time. So there's my 10-inch strip. So now what I'm going to do to get my 10-inch squares, really, I promise I'm not trying to make you see something. Let's see if I can turn this. Not bad for our first time, huh? No, anyway, all right, that's a little better. So now that I've got my 10-inch strip, I'm just going to put it in. I'm going to use this one because I've already cut my selvage off. And I do save my selvages, but I'm just going to line it up on that bar again. And both rulers, either one that you use, you can actually do multiple layers. And actually for this one, I tend to like my Kai cutter a little better. So there's my 10-inch block. So I'm going to put my 10-inch blocks together face to face. See if I'm in the camera zone here. I'll come this way, get in my camera zone. I'm going to put them face to face. Then I'm going to say, I usually take a ruler and just mark my line diagonally. This line you're going to eventually cut, so I don't take a whole lot of care, or it doesn't matter if you use a permanent marker or one of the fabric markers. I found that it doesn't matter. I guess if this was all whites, I might care. Anyway, I'm going to sew. I'm going to draw that line, and then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch off. I'm not going to do anything else to it at that point. Except on this one, I don't know if you can see. I'll see if I can bring it up. On this one, I've drawn lines opposite of my diagonal. And because this is 10-inch square, I know that half of that's 5. So I'm just going to lay that out. But that's where my line is. At this point, this is where I'm going to cut them apart. Through the magic of camera. So this is where this was. So I've cut it apart this way. I've cut it apart this way. And now I'm going to go back on that original line that I cut, and I'm going to cut it apart. And voila. There is my half square triangle. I will need to straighten these up a little bit. But I have just sat here and made 8 half square triangles for whatever project I'm working on. I've used several different companies' products. I like them all. They all have pros and cons. I don't feel like I've wasted my money on any of them. And I guess that is your tools, tips, and techniques for today. I love y'all. Bye.